Around the beginning of cinema, the Western genre was one of the industry's most reliable and popular investments. These types of films had the star power and the familiar backdrop of the Western frontier, where heroes, outlaws, bandits, and the like roamed free. But due to world events such as World War II, that romantic lens of the Wild West fell not long after. Popularity of the genre went on the decline through the years, as more people felt empty and disconnected from it. One film I believe that manages to break down the Western genre with care is one that was directed by one of the very champions of the genre itself. This brings us to Unforgiven. In the town of Big Whiskey, 1880, two men cut up a prostitute. When the sheriff of the town, Little Bill Daggett, gives the two men a minor punishment, the other prostitutes of the town get together and place a bounty on the two men. News of this bounty quickly spreads and reaches old gunslinger William Money when a young man who goes by the name of the Schofield Kid looks to have his help in collecting the bounty. William, though reluctant, agrees to do one last job and recruits an old partner named Ned Logan. As our characters make their way towards their reward, we get more background on William and Ned and who they were before. Both of the men deal with their past and recognize their current circumstances, as William can barely hop onto a horse, and Ned doesn't have the instinct to kill like he used to. Due to their age and the passage of time, the question of whether or not they have the strength or ruthlessness to carry out a job like they used to comes to the forefront of the story. Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven is a very grounded take on the Western genre, as the line between good and bad is blurred, and characters feel more vulnerable and human. As I have mentioned, the early days of the Western was a more romantic and lighthearted time, where many adventures were had, and famous actors were seen riding their horses triumphantly on lush and beautiful landscapes. That would be the ideal Western for some, but Unforgiven is something different. Clint Eastwood injects realism to this story, and it is helped by characters like the Schofield Kid and W.W. Beauchamp, who both represent idealism. The Schofield Kid seeks to make a name for himself as a gunslinger, growing up on legends like William Money, but once it comes to actually killing one of the culprits responsible for what happened with the prostitute, he goes through with it, but is overwhelmed by the act he had just committed. After the Schofield Kid confesses to William his feelings about what he has done, William replies with,
"It's a hell of a thing, killing a man. You take away all he's got, and all he's ever gonna have."
W.W. Beauchamp is an author who we first see act as the biographer for a famous gunslinger named English Bob. When both of them reach the town of Big Whiskey, they eventually come face to face with Little Bill, who makes an example out of English Bob in front of the whole town. Later that day, Little Bill explains to Beauchamp how the events in his book really happened, and that the story behind English Bob isn't as grandiose as it seemed.
No, he just walked over there real slow. Because he was drunk. Shot him right through the liver.
He also explains the effectiveness behind someone's shot, depending on how level-headed they are when under fire. That becomes apparent later in the film when we see the showdown between William and Little Bill. Characters like the Schofield Kid and Beauchamp are both naive fanatics of the past that don't really have a grasp on the harsh and often unsatisfying truths that come with it, and it was clever on the part of screenwriter David Webb Peoples for including these characters into the story to help push the realism that this film contains. Earlier in this video, I said that the line between good and bad is blurred when it comes to the cast of characters in this story. The two prime examples of this fact would be William and Little Bill. William Money was a man who became notorious for his life as a gunslinger, and it wasn't until someone close to him interfered that he was able to go down a different path. We see the effect that his deceased wife, Claudia, has had on him. He is more of a soft man at first, as we see with his interactions with characters in the film, especially his first encounter with Little Bill. After coming face to face with the cut-up prostitute, he tells her that he couldn't accept an advance on his pay on account of his wife. Throughout the film, he insists that he isn't the man he used to be, and only agrees to do the job for the sake of his children. After the two men have been killed and the job is finished, he is informed by one of the prostitutes of the town that his friend, Ned, has been killed. As the woman recounts the chilling deeds of William Money, he takes the bottle from the Schofield kid and takes a swig, visually telling us that the old killer that has resided deep within William for years has been awakened. Little Bill holds a tight grip on the town of Big Whiskey and makes no secret of his intolerance for people he calls assassins. His ruthlessness is exhibited by showing the lengths he will go to get what he wants, and that sometimes means making examples out of people, such as his encounters with English Bob and William, as well as killing Ned and displaying him outside of Greeley's for all of the townsfolk to see. Little Bill's hatred for practitioners of old ways of the past ends up being his downfall, as he unknowingly underestimates William and his more dark side. In the end, Little Bill's actions don't make him much different than those he despises. I don't believe anyone could have pulled off a film like this other than Eastwood. It manages to deconstruct the Western in a genuine and caring way, and doesn't have the sense that it carries any underlying hatred for the genre, or that it has any kind of ham-fisted message that would make fans of older films feel ashamed. At the end of the day, it's just a more realistic look at an era that has been the background for many films, and it takes someone who truly understands the Western genre and its impact on people to deliver something as moving as Unforgiven. Please, check out this film for yourself. And to anyone who is watching, thank you. Have a good day.